Okay.
Recording in
So,
progress.
hey, Tate, how's everybody doing today? It's
I am
fantastic. So,
good.
yeah.
I'm picking up my son to take him to his sailing. I think he's gonna have a great sailing today because the weather is awesome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
That's
I'm driving.
amazing.
That's why I'm recording while driving. But I'm safe.
That's awesome. So, anyway, I'm gonna put this out there so if anybody's listening knows or if you know. So Corvo wants to make a sign that says pick a topic, get a poem, but wants to wood
So Corvo is
burn.
your daughter. Corvo
Yeah,
is your
yeah,
daughter.
yeah. Yeah, so she wants to wood burn the words and the designs into the panel, but all we're finding is plywood that evidently is not working the way it should. It's not the right material. So we were looking for a solid wood panel at Home Depot, but no luck. And so what I was suggesting is like, well, let's think outside of the box. What if you don't have the exact materials you need, what could you do instead? It's like given this situation, given this circumstance, what do I want to create? Yeah, what can I create given that exactly what I want maybe is not immediately available?
So what did you end up doing? What did you end up creating? Or do you have an
I,
idea?
I just created the possibility. Let's do some more research because this project is the date of completion is November 22nd, I think.
Okay.
So
So
we
it's
have
a
some
month.
time.
About
We
a
have
month.
some time, but what I suggested is like look at woodworking shops and look around because I'm sure lots of people will do decorative wood burning, right? It's a common thing. So just look around and see what's available. And I suggested lasers, but you know I'm into
Yeah.
lasers, I guess. So but anyway,
So
it was kind of like Corvo had this frustration, like you know it should like something you imagine should be immediately available in the exact form that you imagine it, right?
So do you think the thought in her head that created the frustration? So
Oh yeah,
would
oh
it
yeah,
be something like, I will never be able to do it on time, or I wanted to do it now and now I can't?
right.
What is the
Or the
frustration?
expectation that it should be easier than it is
Yeah,
to get this done. Because if I had all this stuff available to me, I could have had it done by now.
yeah. It's
You know.
interesting for you as a coach knowing that. What is your reaction? Because of course you won't just walk around coaching your daughter all day long. And I know that as you look at her, you can also what's going on. So how do you handle a situation like that? How do you as a coach handle a situation where you exactly what's happening, but yet you don't have permission and you don't feel like coaching?
Well, what I did is I just remained very upbeat about the whole thing. I didn't get involved in the frustration. I think a lot of it was hangriness too, which I'm experimenting with now because of this intermittent fasting. But I get it if you want something really badly and you want this solution to be here right now and you're hungry at the same time. That
Wow. That doesn't go that well, right? That's
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I was just sort of enjoying the situation and said, be upbeat. This is indeed not a critical problem. This is what we call a first world problem.
It is. It definitely is. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's a nice to have. It's not a vital need, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what a world class work program is. I grew up in the third world country. I grew up in Senegal,
Uh huh.
and I definitely see the abundance of where we live, of here, the States, or even France, right? And for example, I grew up. My parents, my dad was a judge, So I never lacked of anything. But around us were poor people.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they raised us with the importance of, for example, not throwing away food.
Right.
And to this day, I have a hard time throwing food. And so
Right.
it was a culture shock for me. And I think it still is a culture shock when we serve our children a lot of food and then usually they don't even eat. Children, they just
Right.
much.
Yeah.
For example, you will like serve a beautiful plate of food and the child will come and not eat it. And at the end of the meal, will just grab the plate and throw it in the
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
all
to this
the,
day,
yeah.
there is something that happens inside of me that says, "Wow, there are some people who are dying of hunger, and yet we are throwing away intact food."
Yep.
So
Yep.
I used to wonder, is it like a scarcity mentality? I'm like, it's not. It's just that, I've seen people who never didn't have enough to eat. So it's still not good to throw away food, but I gave that meaning to it. And
Yeah.
so it brings us to the fact that we give meaning to things. What means it has a whole meaning for me, but the person, like the American mom who is throwing it away, it
Yeah.
doesn't have any meaning for her.
Yeah. Well, I would think of that with Corvo and me because I very much I grew up in the idea that you don't waste your food, right? You clean your plate, right? And Corvo's always, I'll fix something for both of us, and Corvo comes back with the plate, and it's, maybe there's two eggs and one of them's eaten. Maybe so they do a slice of toast and only a bite's taken out of it, and I'm like,
And that could be really into child abuse, because I mean we're not talking about child abuse, but I know some families who would force their children to finish their meal, and
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's very. I don't think that's right either.
right,
When
yeah,
a child is full, like I've learned that when feeding your babies, and I remember doing that with my first two kids. When they say no, you still want them to say one more bite for
one
mama,
more,
one
yeah,
more
yeah,
one.
yeah,
And actually, what I learned later is that that's not good, and that's why how we have eating disorders, and
because we're
sometimes we're
force feeding
overweight.
our children.
We're not only do we do that, but actually we don't allow the child to trust his physical sensations.
Yeah,
Like
that's
when the
good.
child
That's good. That's good. Yeah,
more of that. It's to listen to, because and then we don't know, the society. We don't know what it is, the feeling of fullness. And in intermittent fasting, in the book you're going to read, I think she will mention it at some point, is to come back to that place where you don't need to overeat. You don't need to eat a huge quantity of meal.
mm.
When you're satisfied. And actually, we from the beginning, from the birth of children, we we teach them basically not to follow their own, to listen to their
Right, because
body.
yeah,
They say no.
not to waste food, and you have to eat it all. You have to clean your plate. You have to.
Or one more with
Yeah,
the baby, one more.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
babies are overweight. A lot of babies are overweight because
yeah,
we feed them way too much. But anyway, it's just
yeah,
interesting. I love how everything is connected,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I know in my way of eating, I I try to listen to my body. I was raised as well. You finish, you don't leave,
Yep,
a
yep,
grain of rice in your plate.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm learning to, when I'm like, hmm, I acknowledge my fullness, my, how do you say,
Mm.
fullness? No,
Yeah,
my
fullness. Yeah, fullness.
fullness. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I acknowledge it. And then I can choose to, take one more or two more.
yep.
And I know that one more or two
Yeah.
more or three more is what's going in my hips, right? But
Yeah.
it's good to know it. Sometimes we just want to indulge in the pleasure anyway.
Yeah. So we actually after our adventure at Home Depot, Corvo was hangry, right? And so needed to get some lunch because it's noon, and so we went to Panera, and well, I don't know, I don't eat at Panera that often, but
I
whereas
like when it's squash soup.
before I
There is
would
a
have,
squash soup now.
what was that?
There is a squash soup, autumn squash soup. I love it. It's a little too sweet now, I feel like, but it's very good.
Oh, the squash soup, right? Yeah, yeah. Actually, somebody ordered that, and I thought about that, and I thought about, well, I'm my decision was that this is 4 hours, is at least 4 hours from now that I'm going to eat anything. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that, even though I'm at Panera and
It's good.
those orange scones look really delicious.
You could have taken one to go, and you could eat it when you eat.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
You could have done that.
that's
I would
true.
have done that.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, the lady who is reading, who wrote the book you're reading, her first book was Delay Don't Deny,
Yeah,
and
delight.
she do
Yeah,
it
and
marvelous.
that's
And
yeah. I
she
got to
do it
that
marvelous.
chapter, and yeah,
And I
yeah.
really like that. You don't have to delay. You don't have to deny yourself.
Hmm.
I mean, arguably, anyway. But in that case, it's proven that it's not what you eat; it's when you eat it, right? It's the
Right.
times you eat. So
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
I experimented with, instead of that, I got some Celestial Seasons Morning Thunder tea, so I could have that instead of the coffee, instead of
nice.
having a bunch of coffee. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I think about that. I'll give it a couple of days.
Nice.
Yeah, but anyway, so what
So
else is
I,
going
I
on?
Steve, there was a quote yesterday that I'm still discussing. How much more minutes do we have? Because it might be a little long.
About 3 minutes, 3 minutes
Okay,
45.
so yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about that quote tomorrow. But basically, a quote that says that attachment is poison, and I have a very hard time with that. And I would love to discuss that more with you. And I guess
Mm,
the attachment I am referring to, like for me, the base of attachment is the attachment a baby has with his mom. For me, it's the
mm,
basis of it.
mm, mm,
And my take on that is that it's so screwed up from the beginning, very beginning, that attachment has become poison. But it only has become poison because of the malfunction of it, the way it has not been well done. And I have read books and books and books explaining how all of the problems, all of our traumas, all of the most of not all of but most of the deep things we are dealing with are rooted from the wrong attachment with our nurturer, our caregiver.
so
So
with the wrong attachment, the wrong
like the
type of
wrong
attachment.
attachment. So there is an innate need, okay, of a baby to have a bond with his mom, for example. Not
Mm,
only the touch, not only the breastfeeding, but in the eye. There is
mm,
a woman called Mary something who did a research on that, and that's where people talk about attachment with John Bowlby, but there was some research where they showed that when a baby, for example, is looking, he finds his existence, his being through his mom because
mm,
he was the baby was in the womb, and
mm,
then even when the baby, for example, is wanting his mom to look at him, and so we'll be making noises and for the mom to look at the baby. And if the mom is not responding because she can hear him, or because she's so depressed, or she's so into something that she can even see her baby, that creates something negative within the child,
mm,
right? You can have shown research where the baby is completely distressed, the baby is completely lost, and how he will find a way to cope, but a negative way to cope with it.
mm,
Like the soothing that we think is super good for the child is not good, because there is the natural ways and there is the unnatural ways. And our society has made the unnatural becomes natural. And we can talk more about it tomorrow, and I'll make sure I have my ideas organized.
Uh-huh.
I'm very passionate about attachment, and so I would love to discuss that more with you.
Yeah. Well, I think there's maybe a healthy attachment and then a not healthy attachment.
Like everything, like there is healthy love and unhealthy love.
Yeah.
Love push people to brave everything, but love also pushes people to kill other people, for
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a good and bad. It's how you use everything. Like somebody said yesterday, a knife you can use it to cook, or you can use it to stab someone, right? So
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
how what are you making of it? But I think attachment, like when the baby is born, he's attached to his mom,
Hmm.
and then and we cut the cord, and then but the baby is still looking for the mom. The baby doesn't see the mom, but you put the baby on a mom's chest, and he feels at home. So there is this attachment. How can that be bad, right?
Hmm.
And then little by little, kids who are securely attached are the kids who have received everything they needed from their mom, and then they're able to detach and then to go away and then live their own life very healthily
Hmm.
because they have been secure. But when it's insecure attachment, you still detach from your mom, but then you find other things sometimes to replace your mom attachment, or you look for other people to still things that met, and some other non-cool ways
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
make up for.
Whoops, you're breaking up right now, but we'll probably have to talk more about this tomorrow. I think because we're
Would
around
love
time,
would love
and
to talk
you're
more about it. I'm passionate about it.
yeah, yeah, I can tell. All right,
I
but
could.
let's
Okay, I have a passion. I think my number one passion is for women and for children. I
uh-huh.
love.
Yes.
I feel so connected to mom and children, and yeah, I want.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want mom or children to suffer. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
intensively worked on that. So be
Yeah.
happy to share more.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us this morning. Afternoon? It's probably afternoon. It's afternoon here.
It is
So
afternoon.
whatever it is, wherever you are in the world, and we will see you soon.
We'll connect tomorrow.
Yes.
Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye. All right.